Tommorows beat the absolute silver army from murder drones. Hi guys, welcome back, or if you're new, welcome. Now, this is a change of pace from my average content, the stereotypical whiz editing format, but I decided why not branch out and try this instead. Some of you may be asking, what do the Silver Army and the Q have in common? Well, let's go over it real quick. First of all, both want to destroy humanity, both think they're superior to all beings in the universe, and that they cannot be beat, and both have massive and extremely OP weapons and powers. Now that we've gone over to what is similar and obviously the intro, now we're finally going to get into the actual meat of the video, where I power scale both of them and see who scales higher, who does, well, this thing better, and other stuff like that. Let's cut the crap, and let's get on to my longest edited video on the channel as of now. Besides that Pig 64 quest. Much easier and overall more consistent to scale. Let's start with the Q's lowest end, since it's pretty easy to scale. At the lowest, the Q can make 1 to 3 mile long pyramids with almost little to no difficulty. At worst, this is a large building level feat, and at best, you can scale this to city block level. But if you really want to take into time on how short this took and how big the pyramids really are, well, then you could probably scale this to city level if you really want to highball it. Also, I know the Q have some other feats that are probably lower than this one, but this is probably the lowest that we can get without them being complete utter fodder. Another feat that the Q should scale to, being that they're so much more technically advanced than humanity is at this point, is that during the galactic civil war that humanity had on each other, they destroyed Phobos, which is one of Mars's moons. And if you really want to go into the size of Phobos, and let's consider this, it was an obliteration of Phobos entirely. Even if we're considering it's an obliteration and not surface wiping, the feat would still only come out to country level, and if it's just surface wiping, probably only large island level. Yeah, that's not really good if you were trying to scale the Q right now. But luckily for us, we have a better feat. During humanity's golden age, aka before the Q came and killed all of them, humanity managed to terraform multiple planets, and by the time that the Q came, humanity has been stated multiple times that it can terraform any planet no matter its size. This includes large planets, probably gas giants, and other planets such as that. This could mean that at best, it's most likely surface wiping, not really surface wiping, but you get the picture. And this could mean that humanity can, at this point in time, could scale to multi-continental using these feats and statements that humanity has had so far in the story. Easily the best scaling for the Q comes from a weapon that the humans made after finding a dinosaur fossil on the alien planet. After this, humanity either turned Christian and believed in Christ, or they turned into paranoid people who made weapons capable of knowing stars, and some even are said to destroy entire solar systems. Yet when the weapons are used on the Q, they were called ineffectual. At the lowest, if you really want to scale the Q, they're city block, and at their maximum power, with all of these feats, they're probably into those star to solar system level ranges of power. And as for speed scaling, it's pretty easy. By the time the Q had pretty much conquered all of humanity, humanity had taken an entire wing of the observable galaxy. And this means that if the Q had to do this all in only 1,000 years, they would have to be moving at massively faster than light speeds. Now, I'm not saying that the Q themselves can move at massively faster than light speeds. That's literally impossible, and considering how grounded in reality the Q are, it's probably not possible for that to happen. But I'm saying that their reaction speeds and their ships could 100% be massively faster than light. Not themselves, though. So yeah, with that out of the way, how can the absolute Silver Army hold up against this solar system powered threat? I think it's important to know that since moles are not black holes, instead they are antimatter, You can search this up on the wiki, it's true, and here, I'll show the scan. That way, y'all know it's real. Anyway, let's move on with the scaling. Now we're gonna do this like we did the Q and start off with her lowest scaling to her highest scaling. Now, her lowest scaling is in episode 6, when, in quote-unquote, Tessa is talking with N and showing him what happened to Earth. During this montage of clips, we see a certain clip where it shows that after the Gala massacre, the entire Elliott mansion was just absolutely destroyed. Now, this isn't the actual impressive part of this feat. The actual impressive part of this feat is that we see the same hole or mouth-like thing in episode 7. And you know what it is in episode 7? It's literally a gateway to the center of the Earth. Or, in episode 7's case, the center of Copper 9. And if you want to see how long Earth's core is to Earth's surface, it is 4,000 miles away from the surface. Even the biggest country on Earth, which is Russia, is only slightly bigger, being only 2,000 to 3,000 miles longer than that. So yeah, that's already some casual country level scaling. Luckily for us, we have more feats that can even get her higher. Holy cow, she is impressive, as during episode 8, and also before the show even started, blows up Copper 9 and Earth. Copper 9 is supposedly as big as Earth, if not then slightly smaller, but still big enough to have its own moon. Anyway, Sin blows up Copper 9 using her null, and when it did blow up, it blew up so violently that it has been calculated to have star level yield of power. And Sin does this in probably only a few days, if not just a month of being on Copper 9. And before you say, she can't do this easily as it took multiple years for her to do this, she was stopped multiple times. If Sin wasn't stopped, Copper 9 would have already blown up before even episode 1 took place. Anyway, we are getting into the actual hot takes now. Now, I haven't seen people use this one, but during episode 6, once again, when Sin is talking to N and showing them the photos, blah blah blah, you already know, it shows a certain photo saying that Earth's system and the proximal system were destroyed. Now, you can take this as the planets were blown up, because why not just call them a solar system? But if humans are already so advanced that they can make sentient robots and commit intergalactic travel, I don't think they would call every solar system a solar system when they have that many. It would be way too confusing for all those solar systems. So instead, they would probably name each solar system after the most popular planet in those solar systems. If you want to see even more proof of this, in episode 8, we see a good shot of where Copper 9 is. The brightest star, or the brightest planet in this case, in this entire photo, is only Copper 9. There is no other one that is even closely as bright as Copper 9 is. Now, if we're going to believe that N is supposed to be a young/adult or older teen, Sin had to destroy 2 solar systems in either 21 to 19 years, and most of these years are not even her destroying planets. Remember, she got stopped by Nori and Yeva and only started to destroy the planet 19 years later. Also, this is more so a theory. Uzi is a young adult. I'll put 19 years at best, since she still seems like she acts like a teen, although it was confirmed a while back that every character in Murder Jones is an adult. What does kind of contradict some lines in the show, but I'm willing to get what I can take at this point. But if we're going to assume that Sin really didn't take too much time destroying these planets, as we see when she's not being super stopped, she can probably destroy these planets in days, if not a couple of weeks. And finally, the last statement, it's an iffy one, but we're gonna use it. And during episode 6, Tessa says,
I'll need you to choose the universe over one little drone and...
This is said in episode 6, after Tessa and N talk, implying that Sin is most likely universal. But it is very iffy, as I said prior. I don't deny that if Sin had enough time, she could wipe out the universe. I don't think she's universal at a base, though. But yes, I do think she could be a universal threat if she uses her max power. Remember that Sin holds back most, if not all, of her fights. And we really haven't seen how powerful Sin is when she actually gets mad, or when she actually goes full power. So yeah, that's some most likely universal scaling for y'all, if y'all really want to bump her up to that. And finally, let's get into the speed scaling, which is going to be super short, cause in episode 8, Jay dodges Uzi's railgun. Although Uzi's railgun shot isn't any shot, it's a beam, and a beam moves at light speed, and Jay can react to this, and, well, she reacted to this, but barely dodged it. It most likely means she probably has faster than light reaction speeds. If not, that's her base speed, which I'm fine at putting that at her base speed, since while we do know that the murder drones had to pilot these landing pods to the planets that they were gonna murder, so I'm fine with scaling Jay to this. And obviously, since Sin is much more stronger and more skillful, she'd obviously just upscale Jay by proxy. And let's just say that she's way faster than Jay, right? Then she'll probably get massively faster than light. Or if you want to get her higher, you can give her the infinite speed, as during episode 8, when Sin's heart is ripped out, time literally stops. And before y'all say time did not stop, it did. Check those snowflakes very closely to see if they moved. And remember, if time is stopped, there is an absence of literally everything. There is an absence of light. There is no time because nothing is moving. There is no atoms, no nothing. So you would have to have infinite speeds in order to move where time has stopped. So yeah, I rest my case there for why Sin has probably infinite speed. Oh, and also for abilities, if you really want to go into that, yada yada. Let's go. Teleportation, holograms, regeneration, callback pin, giant tentacles, nulls, flight, hacking, and the multiple hands that we see throughout the show. Now with the Sin scaling out the way, is it enough to destroy the Q army from all Tommorows? For both of these armies out of the way, which army do I think is stronger? And, well, I think it's more difficult than one may think. Cause Sin's mid-tier is the Q's highest scaling, although even then, the scaling for the Q is iffy, as in the book, it only said the weapons were ineffectual, which could mean a lot of things. Now what I mean by this is, I'm not saying they can't make weapons that can nova stars and solar systems, but when you realize how the Q took over planets, the star people probably wouldn't have had time to use them. Remember, the Q fought on the planets, not in space, and if they're not fighting in space, I doubt the star people would just blow themselves up just to get rid of the Q. And this is concerning for the scaling of the Q, as during the events of all Tommorows, the Q are eventually defeated by the Asteromours, who only had scraps of what the star people used to have. And even if we're talking about the star people, the cubicles were turned into the cubicles because they turned back 2 waves of the Q with only their weapons. And obviously you can't hold the Q back while destroying your own planet because, well, you'd be dead. Also, the star people weren't taken quickly, no. They were taken over the span of 1,000 years. So this war wasn't even that easy for the Q as some may think. And while I still think the Q's weapons are star to solar system level, that wouldn't even be close to anything Sin hadn't done on the usual. So overall, I think the winners of today's death battle is the Solar Army with mid difficulty. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. It took so long to make, so I'd be happy if you liked it and all that jazz. Anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.
Potential satisfaction guaranteed. You broke the contract.